Hi there! In this video I want to tell you my 5 rules that I always follow to get a great strawberry harvest. I want it to be clean so that the strawberries don't get sick, grow vigorously, produce crops, and give birth to new offspring. I'll tell you about all of this in turn. First, you need to fertilize the strawberries so that the harvest is really big and the bushes grow vigorously. To do this, I use only 2 fertilizers before harvesting. I do the first feeding before flowering. When the strawberry plants are just beginning to form buds, I fertilize with an infusion of chicken manure. To do this, you need to dissolve a 1-liter can of granular chicken manure in 10 liters of water, and then I add only half a liter of this concentrate to 10 liters of water and fertilize the strawberries with a consumption of 10 liters of such ready-made fertilizer per 1 square meter of the garden. I do the next feeding immediately after flowering when the berries begin to form. Here you can also repeat this feeding from granulated chicken manure, or you can prepare an infusion of weeds. To do this, you need to fill a bucket with weeds. No matter what kind, fill it with water and leave it for 1 week. Then, when the weed infusion is ready, I dilute it in the proportion of 1 part of the infusion to 2 parts of water. I also fertilize strawberries. The consumption is the same, 10 liters per 1 square meter of garden. The next rule is mandatory mulching. My garden bed is mulched with chopped branches from fruit trees. First of all, weeds practically do not grow under such mulching, and the strawberries are always clean because they are not on the soil. After rains and after watering, they are not dirty and do not rot, but are always dry, clean and beautiful. You can eat them straight from the garden, although I don't recommend it. You still need to wash them before eating. The shredded branches look like this, a very small fraction, and during this season almost all of them rot. The soil becomes more nutritious, loose and fertile, and most importantly, you need to water it much less. For example, I water my mulched garden bed once every 2 or 3 days. When the heat comes and the temperature is above 30 degrees Celsius, then of course I will water it once a day. And this is the 3rd mandatory rule, watering. Because strawberries like moist soil, but they don't like frequent watering, especially on the leaves and especially when the sun is shining, because it immediately starts to get sick. Brown spots appear on the leaves with white dots in the center. This disease causes strawberries to become smaller, tasteless and very hard. It is better to try to water the strawberries under the roots and do it in the evening so that the soil is saturated with moisture and the plant stores moisture for the whole next day when it is hot, because when you water the leaves in the heat, most of the moisture simply evaporates. The rule to get a big harvest is to control the number of mustaches that strawberries produce. There are strawberry varieties that do not produce whiskers, but I think it is better to grow strawberries that produce whiskers, because at the end of the whisker we get a new seedling, and strawberries, as you know, yield for 2 years, and in the 3rd year they are already weak, or the bush begins to freeze or dry out. This way we always get new seedlings, which simply by rooting in the soil or a dug cup give us new planting material. These whiskers pull in a lot of nutrients. If you leave them all on the bush, and there are 10 or 20 of them, the harvest will be very small. The bush will give all its strength to the offspring. And here we are faced with a choice. If we want to get a big harvest, we cut off all the mustaches. But if we also want to get offspring, then don't overload the bush too much. Leave 1 or 2 whiskers per strawberry plant, then the harvest will be considerable, and there will be new seedlings to replace the old bushes. And the last, 5th rule is timely harvesting, because the plant also spends a lot of its energy and nutrition on ripening the crop. And when the strawberries are fully ripe, there is no more white spot, and they are ready for consumption. We harvest them, and at this time, these small strawberries begin to ripen and grow. If we allow the harvest to be overripe, it will already be tasteless. Also, these strawberries will not grow any bigger. They will ripen later. They will be red, but they will be just as small. Therefore, it is imperative that when it is in this state, it is already fully ripe strawberries, it will be delicious. Don't let it get too dark. When the strawberries still have this white part, it is better to leave them for another day or 2. Then they will ripen. Otherwise, it will just have a sour taste. And also, when strawberries are of this variety, coming in a cone, then if they are all ripe and there is a white nose at the edge, then they can also be picked. The main part of it is already tasty. So dear friends, be sure to follow all the simple rules. Water the strawberries properly, mulch them, fertilize them, and harvest a large and tasty crop even from such small beds. I wish you a good day and see you in the next videos.